Welcome to Wrestling is Hard, where every side is the dark side of the ring. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at hard4wrestling. Email us questions and complaints like how loud my mute button is or how loud I was in the last 2 episodes at wrestlingishard@gmail.com. I'm Jim. Brandon, hello. Sad weekend in Philadelphia, but the Chicken Man ate 40, didn't he?
The Chicken Man saved the weekend, coming to you live election night here in Montgomery County. Commercials are over. We've made it.
Made it. Doug Mastriano is terrible.
We were just reviewing some of the propaganda that's handed out to local election places. So having a good time here in my girlfriend's childhood bedroom as everybody else eats dinner, and I recorded my wrestling podcast like most cool adults do.
Yeah, she's quite the geography nut. I see a map up on the wall.
Yeah, one of those cool maps you can scratch off everywhere you've been to. You can see we've been to that many places. So
yeah, very good. Fun. Chris, how are you?
I had what did I say? 4 Novocaine needles, 2 nerve blockers, and a bunch of other stuff shot in my face yesterday.
Just from watching AEW?
Just from watching AEW. So my oral tendons, my oral ligaments are very sore. Now I just had a filling done, but I was sensitivo, I guess. So what are you gonna do?
Actually, got to do that tomorrow.
Dentist?
Yeah, I broke a tooth. Nobody cares about this shit. I broke a tooth for the Friday night of the NLCS.
I love it.
I'm fucking going to this game. So at like 3:00, I went to the dentist, and he's like, "We got to pull it now." And I'm like, "I'm supposed to go to the Phillies game in 3 hours." And he's like, "Well, if I was you, I would get the tooth pulled and then get very drunk." I was like, "Don't have to tell me twice, doctor." So I got that tooth pulled. Then I had to go back, and turns out I have like 4 cavities because I didn't go to the dentist for half a decade, which is like one of the dumbest things you could do as an adult is not go to the dentist. So
especially if you have insurance. You got to go if you have insurance.
I know.
Yeah, I was saying this to Jim earlier before we started. I said, when people say like, "Oh, that sucks, you got to go to the dentist," I'm like, not when you got insurance and you never used to. It's a fucking joy.
It's crazy. It's honestly crazy.
You want to rip at my mouth? Fucking A. I'm not going to be like, in a fucking month with no fucking way of getting it fixed. Going to the doctors. I actually had to go to the hospital one time. I had to go to the hospital one time because I had an infection in my tooth so bad that my head was swimming.
Ooh.
And I went in there and the doctor was like,
is that the medical diagnosis?
Well,
Edicus swimicus.
Did you ever have any kind of issues with your equilibrium?
No, thankfully.
That's the best way I could describe it is you just kind of get like this. And so when I went in, the doctor's like, apparently that's a big way that junkies get pain medication is by going to the dentist and going to the doctor's ER and saying that they have a toothache. And he asked if I wanted something for the pain, and I said, "No, I just need antibiotics." I said, I don't mess around with any of that stuff. And he was like, "Get on back here." He was all happy. He's like, "Come on, I'll take care of you right now. Let's get you out of here." He wrote me a prescription. He was like, "Let me just make sure there's no pockets of infection." He's like, "You're fine." He gave me the prescription, and I went over to the Walgreens, which was down the street at if you're from Philadelphia, you know what I'm talking about, Broad and Snyder, which is a wonderful corner to go to, but that was the area I lived in at the time. And while I was waiting for my prescription to get filled, somebody came in and went to the pharmacist. You ready? "Can you take my blood pressure? I think I'm having a stroke."
I hate to make fun of people there.
No, and I love it. And then I looked at her, I went, "Hospital, 2 doors down." Like, dude, you're literally a block and a half from the hospital, bro. Take a walk. I think I'm having the pharmacist is looking at her like, the dude.
I sent you that
super
voice
dick
message.
had to interject himself into the fucking equation.
I sent you the message from the meat section of the IGA.
Oh, yeah.
In Port Regiment. I'm just sitting there, just trying to get some sausage, man. I'm making some gumbo, getting some delicious ass sausage for my gumbo, and I hear this guy who looked like you ever see one of those like 20-pound bags of beef? It's like a loose sausage.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, I'll vote for him once he gets up there. He's gonna run. He's gonna close down the border, and then that's gonna stop the inflation, and then all the prices will go down. So if you want to figure out what's wrong with the global economy, head to the meat section of the IGA in Port Richmond. You'll get all the answers. This guy had it all figured out.
I forget that people still just talk politics. Everyone I know is so disgusted with it. Every once in a while, you run into someone that wants to talk about politics, and you're just like, what?
It's absurdity at this point.
You have
Like, do you really care at this point? We can't do anything about it.
No,
Go
we're all
vote.
fucked.
Go vote, y'all.
This is the second election in a row where I've had the choice between a cable TV meme and a guy that can't complete a sentence. These are the choices.
These are the
Yeah,
choices
exactly.
we have. It's like, well, I guess I won't take the least. I'll take the least evil of the options. Thank you very much.
I guess.
I got stuff in the mail.
Let's see it.
Ready? All right, first. Well, let me do the math in my head. 100,000 yen this cost me. Minus shipping. I got my Suzu Suzuki and my Risa Sera action figures. I don't know if you could see them. Kind of hard to see.
Look at that.
Signed, of course.
Interesting boxes.
Yeah, they're cool little boxes. I want to open them, Chris. You know I do. Dying to open them.
And do it.
No, because I don't know.
Save the
They're
boxes.
very expensive.
What do you
No, it's
sell 'em?
actually sealed. Like it's sealed for. Got a hermetic seal on it almost.
That's why you got to get two of each. One to
Yeah,
open, one
yeah,
to save.
You see how much I spent? I wasn't going to spend it twice.
How much were they? Just tell me. It was $100 for two of them.
That's $500 a piece. They're $500 a piece. Brother.
I don't know whether I should bring this, what just happened, up or not.
Wait, 500 a piece?
Yes, they are.
Holy shit, dude!
Well, they were it would be 500 if it was 1-to-1. It was $350 a piece.
Each?
Because the yen stinks right now.
That we spent on them?
He's a maniac for those toys.
Hey,
I spent $300
drugs.
on little. Weren't you buying digitized chimps at one point? What the fuck
Yeah.
are you talking about, maniac?
We all have our
We all have our
my friend.
vices.
Chris, go ahead. What did you buy? What were you?
Oh no, I didn't buy anything. We'll keep going. I don't want to interrupt you. I'm
And
sorry.
also, I got this cool little postcard from a wrestler. I donated to something that she was running. Yappy from Ice Ribbon. But I got my first issue of PWI.
Look at that.
Came in the mail. This is an interesting little magazine. I'm glad I fucking spent the money on it. I got a year's subscription. It was super cheap. It was like $60 or something like that. So about 1/10 of what I paid for my toys. This is pretty cool, this thing. I mean, like the list is whatever, but they have some interviews and stuff, and like it's colorful, and you got all your characters in there and shit. This is a neat little thing, and most of some of the jokes are absolutely terrible. I haven't made it all the way through the magazine. It's very like Mad. It's much less funny than Mad Magazine. Remember, there's like Mad Magazine. There was Cracked, and then there was like Funhouse Magazine. It was like that level of humor where it's just not funny at all. But
They're doing jokes in there?
Yeah, they got jokes. Oh, do you want to hear some? Not like jokes, but they're like, ha ha, snarky snark.
Yeah,
Here's
give me
some
one.
Okay. Give me a moment. I'm sorry. So I get to the pages.
The comedy writers at Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
So we got the talk and trash section. Here's a list of the top 10 wrestling related items you've been talking about lately and our gut reaction to each. All right, ready? Number 10. I'm not going to do them all. Triple H is named Chief Content Officer of WWE. In a related story, Guy Fieri edged out Gordon Ramsay for the job of Chef Content Officer. It's good stuff. What are you talking about? How about this? Let's pick another one. None of these are good, by the way. So it's Here's a real good one. CM Punk is stripped of the AEW title. This is number 4 on the list. AEW title amidst reports of a backstage melee. Tony Khan stated he could have tolerated a puree, a flambe, or even a creme brulee, but he had to draw the line somewhere.
Drop fucking dead.
Jesus Christ.
Should be ashamed of himself.
They're not. It's like they're funny because they're not funny at all. They're terrible. Where's the punchline? But
They're
they
not
have
even
a
like-
right. You can, dude. It's like we're kids again. You fill it out and you
that's
send it
pretty
into
cool.
them. Like you could do your official fan ballot and stuff like that. This is a very cool little thing. They got their little top 10 list. You know, you go through each one of the categories. You can go through and figure out who your top 10 are.
They should add an advice column where you could write in and be like, I want to go to Survivor Series, but I don't fit in one seat. What do you think I should do? I have ringworm the size of my face, the size of a pepperoni.
Signed Pepperoni Pete.
But they got they got rankings for all the big companies. Raw, SmackDown, AEW, Impact, New Japan, CMLL, Stardom, Independent, whatever independent means. I guess all the rest.
What? How much did that cost you?
It was $60 for the year, 12 episodes. 12
So
issues.
it's $5 a month.
Nothing. It's fun. It's a good read.
Gives you. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying it gives you like 20 minutes. That'll go right in the bathroom.
Yeah, my doctor told me I'm not allowed to sit on the toilet and read anymore.
Why not? Because
your ass bleeds when you sit on the toilet for too long.
Hemis? The Hemis fire up?
They say that's a major cause of hemorrhoids.
That's a Hemi.
Because your butthole's open
Really?
like a flower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what my problem is.
I deposit and I get the fuck out of there.
Well, I used to read. Now I don't. Now I just go in there, take a deuce, and get loose. If you know what I'm saying.
Sometimes he just drops a full log on the rug that wraps around the toilet, moves on.
True story.
True story. So I got some cool stuff. There you go. Okay, Chris, you were gonna say something.
Nah, we'll save it. Just go ahead. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
We're past this. We're past what we were talking about. We're gone too far away.
Okay. So let's talk about some wrestling. Fuck it. AEW Rampage. Believe it or not, I caught the first 20 minutes of the show. Orange Cassidy defeated Katsuyori Shibata. Apparently, Shibata said that he wanted to wrestle 2 people. One was Orange Cassidy, the other one's Bryan Danielson. He gave him his wish. He went in there and he wrestled Orange Cassidy. It was a pretty good damn match, or a pretty damn good match. Brandon thoughts?
Yeah, what a surprise. I mean, I'll give AEW credit. Last week, right on time as we complained about, why do I have to know what's coming every week? We get Katsuyori Shibata against Orange Cassidy, commentated by Mike Tyson. So
oh my God, I forgot about Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I really ate crow on that one because that was a spectacle to say the least. The match was fun. My first thought to it was, boy, Shibata, big deal, massive moment when he comes out at what was it, New Japan pay-per-view where he appeared? It wasn't Wrestle Kingdom, I'm blanking, but either way. And then he's on Rampage.
Yeah.
Friday night. So what's going on there? Does New Japan not want to use him? Does he live over here? And that just happened. I thought it was a strange thing logistically that someone that's that big of a deal to people who care is showing up for his second match in such a long time on AEW and not even on their main show, on their sort of Friday night aftermath show.
That is a good question to ask. Is that so? Shibata has wrestled twice in New Japan in the last 3 years, but he once wrestled twice. But he wrestled Orange Cassidy of all people here. I mean, it kind of speaks to Orange Cassidy as a wrestler that a lot of these guys want to wrestle him. Maybe he's safe. They know he's a pro. You know what I mean? You're putting him in the same breath as Bryan Danielson. But yeah, he is in the United States. He's based in L.A. for La Dojo, L.A. Dojo. So yeah, I guess it's easier to travel just to wherever the hell they were. I don't know where they were last week. I didn't really pay
Dude, this was in Atlantic City. I was gonna say too
AC,
because I'm
right.
like, fuck, we were right there. Like compared to what we get at the Liacouras Center,
Yeah.
that would have been at least a lot more interesting had we gone to that. Not that Chris and I have made our trips to AC for some shit. I don't know if AEW would ever be worth it. One other funny.
DC?
Probably Boardwalk Hall. I feel like that's
Boardwalk Hall.
right in their zone, the 10,000 seats. The other funny thing I was going to bring up, one of the other wrestling podcasts I checked out because I wanted to see like a live. Does anybody know about Shibata here? A woman genuinely reported that his brain got removed from his head as if it was real news. Like you could see that. I like when these people like I know that I don't know that much about Shibata, and I'm half of these reporters and people in the public probably don't either, especially like younger people, but they'll never admit that. So I'm like, this is why I'm going to look into this, and I got the perfect example of that there, where a person is explaining to other people that his brain actually got removed from his head.
Frankenstein, as per Dave Meltzer, by the way. Chris, thoughts on everything?
So, yeah. I mean, to Brandon's point, or I guess opposite of Brandon's point, that if you hadn't advertised this and it just showed up, wouldn't you think that your fan base would say, "Holy shit, I got to watch this show. Look what happens when I don't watch."
Right. The surprise factor we complained about last week actually happened. Now we knew because it was out there already, because on Wednesday. But the people that went to the show on Wednesday probably had no idea he was going to be there.
Right. AEW has gotten to a point where I am so disinterested in everything and everyone that's involved in it that I really didn't give a shit. It's cool. I like Shibata, but yeah, I mean, I don't care. I really don't. I'm like it. I almost have like a level of dread with AEW because I don't care now, and it's only a matter of time before the three people that I care the least about in professional wrestling that are on a main stage come back. And it's just they're doing nothing to really bring me in. The only thing that I'd probably be excited involving, I mean, I'm sure you can name some things, but if I think off the top of my head, the only thing I can think of that involves an AEW wrestler it isn't even happening in AEW, and it's Sting tagging up with the Great Muta. Other than that, I there's nothing on that television show that even remotely makes me want to watch it.
I've halfway opened up Reese's Syrup, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't tear the sticker. I peeled the sticker back.
You're gonna sell them at some point?
You never know.
Yeah, I mean, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Look behind me if you're watching on video. I open fucking shit all the time. The only reason I have stuff in the packages is because I like the artwork.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. The only reason I have it. I have a really cool G.I. Joe does a classified series. They're 6-inch figures, come with a ton of weapons. You can store them all in there. They're pretty cool. They're really articulated. One of the better action figure lines that comes out right now. And they put out 4, I believe, on old school cards, but they're real big. And I mean, they're I guess almost like proportionately sized to the original figures card wise. And the art is fantastic. It's the original Hector Garrido art. And I have one of them. That's the only thing I don't really open. Is things where the card art is cool. So have fun with it. Let it breathe.
Yeah, I opened it up, and I haven't opened the whole thing, but just look at
the girl breathe.
The mini bubble that she's in. Like, this is fucking well done. This is it looks just
let me see
like a tiny version of Risa Sarah. She's got her fucking hardcore gear on, her deathmatch gear on.
Yeah, that's badass.
I don't know if you could tell there. It's fucking rad, dude.
Her
sleeves, like her arm sleeves, have tiny little sakura and flowers all over it.
I would open it. That's just
my God. I don't think I can not. It looks so cool.
Yeah.
She's got her toe shoes on and everything. This is
You'll never sell it.
I'm never selling this thing.
Just keep the box though, because you have the autograph box. But
yeah,
I store all that stuff.
Those little circular cyst stickers too. If you take them off, well, you can kind of put that back on, and say you don't sell it for 5 years, that little glue starts to die anyway, and they kind of look the same as if you just sealed it and stuck it back.
They got it stapled in here too, which is pretty shitty. But
get a staple remover, pop them out.
Yeah. Not doing it right now though.
Take your time.
All right, well,
so that's my review of pretty much all things AEW right now, because it's just like this impending dread of the crew coming back.
If they do, we don't fucking know if they
I mean, I don't know. I kind of have a feeling they will.
Yeah, they're definitely coming back.
And someday you're going to see the Gimmick Boys and fucking all the things that made it so that DDP couldn't get over is what they do. right? Cigar, sunglasses, mink coat, leather coat on top of the mink coat, 2 girls on each arm, dudes, headband, spangly things, Nikes, guy with spray can behind him. It's like, how many fucking gimmicks do you want? The only person that can get away with doing that many gimmicks is fucking Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And look where he always was on the card.
I don't know. Their fans love him. Did you watch the rest of the card though, Randy? I did not.
No, I was just gonna say, to Chris's point, and like, look, I feel the exact same. I don't disagree with Chris, but I said this a while ago. Sometimes AEW kind of reminds me of that late '90s like WCW Nitro, where you're just like, what the fuck is going on this show?
Mm-hmm.
And there's something like some credit to be given to that, where even though I'm disinterested, I had a friend that doesn't watch wrestling happen to be watching it and text me like, who is this Shibata guy? Mike Tyson's on. This is fucking an interesting TV show for sure. So
Mike Tyson
I'll give them that.
Mike Tyson was fucking awesome on there. He was absolutely incoherent. He sounded like a fucking maniac.
Yeah, he was saying stuff that didn't make any sense.
We call him the abominable stretch. He called it.
Dude, there's
rules.
something about him that when he gets around wrestling, he loses his mind.
Yeah, it's great.
There's an
He must be
interview
a
out
huge
there.
fan.
He's a gigantic fan. There's an interview where they're at a signing, and it's him and, I guess eventually they come together. Like he comes over to introduce himself to Superstar Billy Graham. And Superstar Billy Graham, at one point, you start to get the sense that he's trying to pull himself out of this conversation. So like when you're a Superstar Billy Graham and the most famous boxer in the history of boxing comes out, right? The most dominant performer of all time comes out and he wants to meet you, right? And you have to eventually start to extricate yourself forcefully from the situation. When do you, like, that's got to be a bit of a letdown for you. Like, oh,
Right.
man, I met Mike Tyson. Jesus Christ.
He's such a mark.
I mean, just in any situation, right? Like, you're talking to somebody and you're like, oh, hey, how you doing? Then about a minute into the conversation, you're like, oh, this was a bad fucking idea. I got to get out of here. And you just can't. Me, I just turn around and walk away mid-sentence. I don't give a shit. But, some people have fucking emotions that are anything but not just negative. So they like kind of feel bad for people. I don't. So
I only did that when I was talking to women that I didn't want to talk to anymore. Turn my back on them and walk away. It's a very compassionate man.
It feels good. It does feel good to do that.
Just extradite yourself from the situation.
I had a
This
friend
girl's
one
a
time.
mark. I got to get away from her.
I had a friend one time. A girl approached him in a club and wanted to talk to him. And he got an inch from her face and started talking to her in a fake Russian accent. And I saw this from 10 feet away and I knew and could hear what he was doing. I don't think I ever laughed at anything that hard in my entire fucking life.
I'm destined to get the Reese's Sarah out of this back before the end of this podcast. All right, let's move on.
Can we take a break so you can get a little X-Acto, peel those staples out?
It's all good. Let's see. What will we talk about first? Let's talk about Stardom and Hiroshima. How about that? We'll talk about that.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So Stardom had a big show in Hiroshima. We're not going to talk about the whole thing. But Natsukatora lost to Tommy Hayashishino, which we waited for. I didn't make you guys watch that, but if you did watch it, it was a pretty damn good match. Tommy went off the top rope and did a splash with a rose in her mouth. It was pretty rad. She also took a bump to the outside on, she was thrown into the ring post, and she flew into that fucking thing. It was padded. She went flying into that thing. It was amazing. Very good match. Go check it out. I did not watch Mayu Iwatani versus the Alpha Female because I do not want to see the Alpha Female. But I did watch 2 matches, and I did recommend 2 matches on this. First of all, we'll talk about Syuri's match first. Wanderer of Stardom title. Syuri, the champ, faced Micah. We are in this holding pattern. New Japan Pro Wrestling also does this after their big tournament. We know what the end of the year match is going to be. It's going to be Giulia versus Syuri. So we get in this holding pattern where the champs have to defend against people they lost to in the tournament. Now, that does kill some of the suspense, some of the, this person might win. But it also establishes for next year's cycle on who will be pushed. So like in the Utami match, Natsukatora, she got put over for a lot of offense. She's going to be a big deal next year. You can tell. So Syuri faces Micah. Micah got most of the offense in this match. This is a pretty damn good match. Syuri out-Syuri'd her like she always does. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Syuri is, as enjoyable to watch as anybody on this show for me. And this week I was being pretty excited to do the podcast. Not that I'm not always, but spoiler alert, we watched New Japan too, and Stardom, and we'd done some talking about how we don't need this much content every week from these companies. I think he just got it out. He saw a little smile on Jimmy's face there. Oh, there it is. But I was like, yeah, it was the first time for Stardom, I was like genuinely excited to watch it, especially just a small dose, 2 matches like this. Syuri was fantastic, and I'm still holding out for this potential Syuri versus Giulia. Holy shit, who the fuck is going to win match that's coming? And Mike looked really good along the way, as good as any of them.
Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, Jimmy kind of stole all. I mean, you didn't really, but you stole my whole commentary was pretty much based on Syuri out-Syuri'd her. But it was a banger. I'm excited to see Syuri with my tag up with my new favorite pro wrestler, Filthy Tom Waller.
Yeah, we'll talk about that part.
It's going to be fun. I can't wait. But this was good, man. Good match. I really enjoyed this. This was, Syuri out-Syuri and somebody. She does that a lot, which is cool.
That's her thing.
She's the thing. That's her
we
thing.
We talked about it before.
Wears you down and she beats you.
She has that next gear there, which is
right.
or last bit of her tank that she can kind of pull out. And you're just like, okay, this is the other girl's now broken and she's sort of fine. Sorry, continue, Jim.
No, that's okay. So we saw it when she faced Azumi in the one match where Azumi was running all over the place and jumping off things, and Syuri just kicked the legs out from under her. It was all downhill from Azumi for Azumi from that. Risa Sera was the same thing where she tried to hardcore match her. Or she was out wrestling. No, she tried to pro wrestle Syuri. Syuri was striking her, taking her down, putting her in submission moves, and then Risa Sera dragged her outside and then started attacking her outside. Eagled it out, and then she out-Syuri'd fucking Risa Sera and ended up they had to throw in the towel. This is what she does. This is what makes her great, is that she's so well-rounded as a striker and a submission wrestler in real life, as well as in, she's a successful UFC fighter, 5-1 record. That's success in my fucking book.
Hey, listen, she made it to the UFC. That's successful.
That's
UFC
huge.
Fighter to begin with.
Right.
Doesn't matter what your record is. Yeah.
Right. So she is a real deal, and she portrays it in professional wrestling with the flair of a professional wrestler. And that's the reason why she's on top. And she proved it in this fucking match. Yeah, this was very cool. This is a very cool match. Any final thoughts on this, Brandon?
Yeah, when do you think we're getting I mentioned the Giulia versus Syuri. How far away do you think we are from that?
Or
is that?
We do have a date for it, but it is not listed. I'm using I use fucking Cage Match, which isn't exactly the most accurate. I believe it's the 30th of December.
Okay.
That's their big year-end show. It's usually right after Christmas they have something. So I
would say that's now the number one, like the thing I'm looking forward to the most in pro wrestling.
Yeah, this should be insane. This match should be insane. I'll tell you, we're going to talk about it in a minute. It's got me more hyped to watch that than I am for Jay White and fucking Kazuchika Okada. That's for sure. This Syuri versus fucking Giulia match is going to be absolutely bonkers, and I cannot wait for it. We're going to allow a lot of emotions again. But not to be outdone. Now, this came on before this match, and there was a sort of a lull. It took me a little while to get back into the Syuri match. Saya Kamitani defended her title against Mina Shirakawa. Now, this was another example where Mina Shirakawa was a big underdog, but leading up to this match, up to the show, and they did a little package beforehand. If you didn't have to watch every fucking match. Shirakawa has pinned her and submitted her in every single one of their meetings leading up to this. So they were building to it, and she was like posting all these videos. And she's been doing this for years. This has got to be one of the most improved fucking professional wrestlers on the planet in the last fucking 3 years. She has been putting these videos online where she's learning she's taking Muay Thai kicking, classes. She's been doing jiu-jitsu for years now. So she's been working this into her thing. So she's not just comedy booby wrestler anymore. She goes after your legs. She effectively uses a fucking figure 4 leg lock, which we talk about it. It's not used effectively anymore. She uses it to wear people down. It's fucking good. Brandon, thoughts?
On that or the match altogether? I don't want
The
to.
match altogether. Oh well, in the end, we got a pretty nasty fucking ending to it. Sai Kamitani selling the leg like a fucking champ, goes to the top rope. She does the Phoenix Splash. She lands kind of awkward the first time around. Then she goes up for a second one, and what looks like a sweeping heel catches Shirakawa into her jaw and smashes her bottom teeth into her mouth. Her face is bloodied. It's pretty fucking gnarly looking. And then she does a huge post-match promo, a fucking heartfelt post-match promo with her teeth just like mangled and blood, and her face is all fucking swollen. The shit was gnarly. But man, she's a fucking baby face now if she wasn't before. Go ahead.
Yeah, if I was smarter, I would have made a reference this earlier when we, so some reason, started the podcast talking about the dentist, because I have a feeling she is going to be having some oral surgery in the near future if she hasn't already. This was one of the more compelling matches to me since I've started this podcast, because I was really getting sucked into it, and I was before that had happened, I even thought, like, with every promotion or wrestling in general, when people, I'm sorry, there's dogs barking if you hear them, but
That's okay.
with every promotion in
That's
general,
the
you're like,
dog in you, brother.
that's the dog in me, yeah. You're like, if you want to watch WCW, check out the electric chair match. That's their best work. If you, and I was just like, boy, if was going to tell someone to watch Stardom, this was, as it was happening, this would be at the top of my list. I was that into it. She goes for that move the second time. She couldn't really pull off the first time. And holy fuck, she just basically crushes the bottom half of her head with her like knee, foot. And I think Shirakawa kicks out. I don't know if she was completely concussed or was trying to stay with it. I just thought that was ridiculous. I was almost concerned at that point. And I only mentioned that just to be like, this match, I hope it isn't defined by that moment, because it was that entertaining beforehand, despite the massive injury. And then that press conference that you mentioned, I think she says, like, why does they have subtitles for it? And she's like, why does everything I want have to hurt so much, or something like that? And she's crying. There's that dark blood coming out of her mouth, not just like this razor blade cut stuff, like real, oh my God, you just crushed half of my jaw. Just brutal stuff. Hate to see that for her, but boy, for the story, does it work.
Yeah, it's she had suffered, I believe it was 2 years ago. She got a pretty bad broken nose too, and a very freak accident. It wasn't anything. It was like something that was going on outside the ring, and she just caught something and broke her nose pretty bad. And she was out for a while there for. So this all ties into it. You know what I mean? Chris, thoughts?
God, I really can't follow Brandon up. I think he nailed it. There's not really much I have to say. I mean, Kamitani gets her head I mean, this match was filled with a lot of ow. Kamitani guy, I think she got her head spiked on a DDT off the top rope at one point.
That was awesome.
Pretty fucking gnarly. I will go back to what you said before. Mina Shirakawa working the lower body to set up a figure four instead of just, going for it in the middle of the ring to get attention, for lack of a better way to say it. I mean, there was some story behind what she was doing, setting it up. I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah, this was a rough one. Hell of a match. The spots that were, the knee to the head or the foot to the head at the end of the match, that was a little cringe, only because of the, aftermath of it. But fucking, man, way to get somebody into some shit. I mean, this was good.
It's, and watching it, and I watched it twice because I was that enthralled by this fucking match. It's a long one too. I think it's a good 30 minutes. There's something about, dude, I don't know if it's her background in dance or whatever it is, but Sai Kamitani, man, she really gets it. You know what I mean? Like pro wrestling. She gets it. She comes out, the way she looks, it's over the top, it's theatrical. Her fighting stance at the beginning of the match, where she's got her shoulders squared and everything, and she's standing there with her hands down and she looks at her opponent. The way she sold the fucking leg, the entire match, I'll say that she was selling it on the fucking Phoenix splashes, and that's what fucked her up. Maybe she took it a little too far. I don't care. This is supposed to be a fake combat sport. People are going to get hurt for real once in a while, or else you're just going through the motions. And, good on all of them. I hope it never happens again. But, man, it fucking really put home that Mina Shirakawa was the fucking babyface in all of this. She was the underdog throughout this whole match, and she dominated for most of it. This whole card from top to bottom, and I said it earlier, the person facing the champs, the person facing the dominant person, looked like okay, we have a solid mid card, and going forward they can be maybe a little bit more believable in this show, but believably could beat someone. Like down the line, Micah, if Micah goes against Syuri again, which, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen at the end of your show. Micah goes against Syuri. She's now faced her a bunch of times. Micah's she adds more moves, as Syuri did. She added more moves to her moveset. Micah's adding more moves to her moveset, and she's getting better. Mina Shirakawa's changed her entire game with the figure 4 leg lock. That fucking double arm DDT from the top rope was fucking amazing, or second rope, wherever it was. Yeah, this is a great fucking. The last couple of matches on this fucking show were fucking great, man. This is a good weekend for fucking pro wrestling. Final thoughts on the show, Brandon?
It was, yeah. Not to harp on the injury, but when you first start watching Stardom, you're like, these girls are just flying, and over time you just get desensitized to it a little bit. So not that you ever want that to happen, but when it does, it's sobering to like, holy shit, somebody misses by a quarter of a second, and this girl's head is crushed. They are not laying off on any of this stuff.
Chris, final thoughts?
No, you can move on. Let's go.
So coming out of this, Saya Kamitani wins. She says, guess what? I'm facing Kyrie. You still owe me a match. So Saya Kamitani and Kyrie are fighting November 19th. They're fighting. This is a match that we were waiting for in the summer. Kyrie, I don't know what happened. Oh, she ended up getting COVID, right? Injury or COVID?
I think it was an injury.
Yeah, it was an injury or COVID. And Syuri's got Giulia, so that's not that show. But yeah, we've got some pretty heavy fucking matches coming. So we'll talk about New Japan, then we'll talk about the crossover show. Yeah, let's talk about New Japan first. No, you know what? We'll talk about the crossover show. So New Japan, Stardom historic crossover announced for the show. So the night before, we get Saya Kamitani versus Kyrie, and then the very next night, Kyrie against Mayu Iwatani for the New Japan or the IWGP Women's Tournament final match, which is the main event of a New Japan show. First time it's ever happened. Women's main event. Thoughts, Brent?
Yeah, this is pretty nuts. One thing I thought was interesting. I forget where if this was Twitter or somewhere else, but we're in Hiroshima for the fucking Stardom show.
Yeah, Hiroshima.
And how many people were there? I saw it was like 1,400 or something. It was almost as much as when New Japan was there. And I think it's interesting to me, like how big Stardom has gotten. I don't know the capacity of that room or whatever, but the fact that they were almost drawing at a venue the same as New Japan shows you how big that they've gotten. And it took that for New Japan to do this. Not that I'm not to make a bigger point out of that, but it should be interesting when it happens. Like, yeah, there's as many people excited about these Stardom matches as New Japan as some of these things.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean they're the second biggest, when it comes to drawing power, they're the second biggest company in Japan, besides New Japan. Yeah, 1045 was the attendance. I don't know what the capacity is.
1040, yeah, I'm not sure, but it's interesting that they were able to get that many people there.
Yeah, Chris, let's.
I think that the sales of bone bags all over Japan are going to go through the roof over the next few months.
So many bone bags.
Bone bags.
Today was Opai Day in Japan.
Does that translate to bone bag?
It translates to boob day.
Oh.
Titties all over my feed. It was fantastic.
Bone bag titty on the feed.
There you go. Bone bag. All right, let's go through the show. No, we're not going to talk about that. We get a bunch of young boys that are fighting. We get a pre-show Stardom Rambo, which is always a riot. How about this match? 8-man tag match. Chaos. Leo Rush, Tomohiro Ishii,
God.
Io, and Yoshihashi versus the House of Torture. Dick to Go, Evil, Sho, and Yujiro Takahashi. Brandon, thoughts?
To be honest with you, I don't have any, but I will say, I don't know if we're covering this, but that big tag team match they had with Dick to Go grabbing
we're gonna
Evil's
talk
leg
about
and
it.
stuff. Okay,
We're
okay.
gonna talk about it.
So I was like, maybe this could be fun.
We're going to talk about it. No Leo Rush. That doesn't get you excited.
I
like
never
Leo.
minded Leo Rush. Lashley.
He's pretty good. He just quits all the time. He quits every company he's in, and then it's like, they didn't know what to do with me. It's like,
is he good?
He
was so good, they would do something with him. They don't know what to do with him, so he quits every time. If he's so fucking good, then they would do something with him. He's another one. He's a Jonathan Gresham. He's 5 foot fucking tall. Who is he going to wrestle that makes it believable that he can beat up?
Right.
I think they're like the like a slot receiver in the NFL, where forever they're just useless, and then all of a sudden somebody uses them well, and it blows up, and it's like
they catch like.
I mean, he's fucking like to me, he's objectively entertaining.
He is. He's fun.
It's subjective, but to me, it's like, how could you not find this entertaining?
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
Once you've seen that guy do that, then you've seen everybody that's ever done what he does.
I like that. I like the way he does that counter run into the ropes. I'm a big fan of Leo Rush.
Yeah, I think he's trash.
Okay.
I think let me rephrase. I don't find him entertaining.
Okay.
I'm not going to say he's trash because he's athletic as fuck. It's just not my cup of tea. And when they don't know how to use him, he fucking pitches a fit and quits.
That's my big problem with him, is that he always quits whenever things are a little rough.
It's almost like
they bring other places.
Right, but here's the thing. When was the last time you seen him wrestle between now and when he left AEW?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? I mean, eventually people go, don't hire him. He quits.
Strong. I think he's on Strong. That's why he's in the show.
To me, the bottom of pro wrestling is like the Jay Lethal type guys. When you see them come in, especially if you're at a show, that's where I'm like, this couldn't possibly be entertaining. But especially if you're at it and you're seeing Leo Rush fly all over the place, that to me stands out.
Right, but you're looking at Jay Lethal now. Like, he was actually like an important player. I mean, for Impact. I mean, you got to take that with a grain of salt. But he was an important Ring of Honor. But he was an important player for a number of years, and then worked himself into a position to where he is the guy that shows up, and you're like, oh God, Jay Lethal. But he's doing shit for these people behind the scenes, so they give him a match on the card.
I just mean that body type, like the bigger guy that doesn't have the personality. Like if you're talking about, anybody that does those moves is boring because you've seen it before. That Leo Rush type isn't where I get that feeling. It's with a different type of guy.
I don't see that dude in any match where it's believable that he would win. Like, how many times does he pull off the sneaky win? Like, it's believable he can pull off the sneaky win, but it's like, how many times do you do that before that's like, oh, okay, we're doing this?
I mean, Rey Mysterio made a career out of it.
Rey Mysterio is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Okay. Leo Rush might get there. You never know.
No, he never. I think he's. I proclaim it now. He never will. He'll never get to Rey Mysterio's level.
I mean, you never know.
I forget to watch pro wrestling to see who could win. I'm just like.
All right, let's move on. 6-man tag match. Queen's Quest. Izumi, Lady C, and Saya Kamitani against Donna Del Monde, Himeka, Mai Sakurai, and Thekura. So you see what we're doing here. We're doing 6-man, 8-man. Everybody's taking a turn. But then we get to the juicy stuff. Mixed tag match. Now, we're going to talk about it in a minute. It's the WWE rules for mixed tag. Women must face women, men must face men. Syuri and Tom Lawler, UFC vets, Syuri and Tom Lawler versus Giulia and Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr. being British, Giulia having a British mother at some point.
The Heathrow connection.
Yes. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, this is definitely going to be fun. That's all that I have. Is like, let's go. Finally, something interesting.
I want to hear Giulia speak English. I've only heard her say hello and give me money in English before. I want to see her talking to Zack Sabre Jr. It should be fun. Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, this will be fun.
Two of the more charming tag teams, right?
Yeah, gotta be. Like, they're fun in and out of the ring. It should be good stuff. Oh, we're going to talk about Zack Sabre Jr. in a minute. How about this one? Okay, now this is where they had a press conference. Okay. Excuse me. And in the press conference, I watched some of it. It's in Japanese, but you can get the gist. We got Black Desire, which is Momo Watanabe and Starlight Kid, are teaming with Suzuki-gun Dookie, or Doki, however you want to pronounce it. I call him Dookie, and El Desperado versus Meltier, which is Natsupoi and Tom Nakano, and Suzuki Gun team of Taichi and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. So they had this this press conference. First of all, Kanemaru without hair product looks fucking weird. His hair is really flat and straight, which was bizarre. Also, Momo and Starlight Kid have already said to El Desperado and Doki, they're like, I heard the rules are we're not supposed to hit the men. Like, what's that all about? Well, and Desperado's like, well, the referee's you'll get in trouble, but we'll figure it out. We'll do something behind the scenes. We'll figure something out. Nobody will say it. Momo already has called out Tai Chi and was like, I can out kick him. I want to go head to head with him in kicking. I'll teach him how to do a real kick. So this is going to be fucking hot, this match, I think. It's and the two Suzuki Guns teams going against each other should be fun. Brandon, thoughts?
Nice. Yeah, I hope that they do that with Dookie. Otherwise, this card's going to run out of legs pretty quickly. There's only so much that can be done to hold entertaining 8-man matches, 8-person matches.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but it'll be fun. Why are the Suzuki Gun guys wrestling each other?
Filling in the card, brother.
This makes no fucking sense. You put some fucking effort into it.
Isn't it very pro wrestling to be like, if we're going to do the show, everyone must appear instead of just having like 7 good matches?
Card. All right, how about this one? Mixed tag match: Tanahashi and Utami versus Hiroki Goto and Maika. So you got the I guess the two handsome characters with Hiroshi Tanahashi and Utami Hayashida versus Hiroki Goto and Maika, two people that kind of look like samurais that lose all the time. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, if you're a mixed tag guy, I guess we're in mixed tag heaven here. I don't know that I am, though. Again, another one, charming teams that have fitting matches, but I have a feeling at this point I'm going to be like, man, I've had about enough of this card.
All right, Chris, save your comments for the next one. 10-man tag match. But by the way, I already paid for it. I'm renting it. So 10-man tag match. Los Ingobernables de Japón versus the United Empire, which the United Empire is Francisco Akira, Gideon Gray, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis, and TJP.
Who the fuck?
Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis are Aussie Open. Chris, thoughts?
I'm completely uninterested in this whole thing.
Hold on, we're not there yet.
No.
6-man tag match. Hold on. 6-man tag match. Team Chaos, Kazuchika Okada and Toru Yano, and the Great Muta versus the United Empire of Aaron Henare, Great O'Khan, and Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb is supposedly injured, which we'll talk about in a minute. Okay.
You know, we're not obligated to do a certain amount of time here, Jim. We don't have to go through every match.
All right, let's talk about the women's match though. We get Mayu Iwatani versus Kairi in the that's tournament final match, and then we will talk about the U.S. title match in a second. Headlining, 2 women headlining a New Japan match. This should be awesome. We've been waiting for Kairi versus Mayu Iwatani, I think, since they came back. Shall we move on to New Japan then? Because I do want to come back to this.
What's the date on that before we move on?
That is the 20th.
Death Day.
2-day Death Day.
The day of death.
I will be watching live.
I'll be hanging from my deck.
Dead. All right, here we go.
With a fucking rope.
By your purple belt? Congratulations on that, by the way, man.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah. Last week, then. But we'll do it again. Congratulations, Chris. All right, Battle Autumn 22, live from Edion Arena in Osaka, Japan. That's that place. Let's go to the matches that matter. New Japan World Television Tournament title tournament semifinal match. Ren Narita versus Sonata. Ren Narita beat Sonata in 14 minutes and 31 seconds. I liked how Sonata was he was doing all his bullshit and being a bully, and then Ren Narita just flat out beats him. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, I think 15 minutes is perfect for these guys. I was going to say, like, it gives them more of a prompt to fill into for 2 wrestlers that are probably not the most interesting to me. Ren Narita getting a push here. This is the first guy since I've been watching where it was like a young lion that's like starting to beat some notable names here. Crowd's getting into it. Looks like a good wrestler. Maybe he's the reason why Shibata's not appearing.
They got a replacement for him. A younger, non-brain outside of his body. Replacement for him. Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Ren Narita gives you something to be excited about with a new person because it's the same old dogs on every card at this point.
I did like this though. I like how they English commentary like put over the fact that Sonata was through all his matches has been trying to stretch it out with the lock, the Paradise Lock, like stretching it out as far of the 15 minutes as he could, and he did it in this match too. This was good. It had a good sequence at the end.
Yeah,
How about this?
speaking of Jay Lethal, they mentioned that Sonata had gone to train with Jay Lethal, so you know where his career is headed, right to losing to anybody that matters.
Putting over dudes is what he's doing. All right, here we go. New Japan World Television Title Tournament semifinal match. Zack Sabre Jr. defeats Evil with Dick Togo. The official time was 4 minutes and 48 seconds. This shit felt like it was 48 seconds. Evil and Dick Togo come to the ring with one of the young lions. Well, I forget their names. One's Fujita, the other one I don't remember. They got him. They're choking him, right? They bring him down to the ring. Am I remembering this correctly?
Yes.
They're choking him. They bring him down to the ring because Zack Sabre Jr. has duped him before with the young lion dressed up like a British wrestler. They bring him to the ring. Zack Sabre Jr.'s music hits. Is that Zack Sabre Jr. up there at the top of the ramp? He's got Zack Sabre Jr.'s gear on. He's got a hat that says, I too am ZSJ. Flabbergasted by all this. Dick Togo asks Evil, should I go check? Evil goes, yeah, go check it out. Dick Togo comes down. He's peeking under his hat. I'm telling you, man, I fucking love this match. He goes up. He's peeking under his hat. It's Fujita, this guy. Pulls his hat off. He's got this big, stupid, shit-eating grin on his face. He's like, I got you fooled. Dick Togo is freaking out. You look at Evil. Evil is he's like exacerbated. How did they do this to me? Zack Sabre Jr. comes in, tries to roll him up. He gets out of it. We're running back and forth. They're beating the shit out of each other. They're beating up the young lions. At one point, Dick Togo's underneath the ring. Zack Sabre Jr.'s in the ring. Evil runs to get in the ring. Her arms come out. Dick Togo thinks Evil is Zack Sabre Jr. I laughed my fucking ass off through this whole match. Zack Sabre Jr. defeats Evil. This was fucking brilliant. Brandon, thoughts?
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, cheating idiots, I think, is a perfect spot for Evil and Dick Togo. That him grabbing the wrong guy's legs. He's like, "You got the wrong fucking guy." From under the ring is entertaining, and within 5 minutes, Zack Sabre Jr. is the perfect foil for this kind of thing. So I don't know that Evil's a great wrestler. I don't think he deserves to go much farther than this, but in this moment, he shined.
Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, I think anything Zack Sabre Jr. does is awesome, and this just kind of added to that resume.
I give credit to Evil in this though, man, because he looked his face during the whole thing. It was like constant state of confused. And you're right, Brandon. You're fucking absolutely right. This is exactly what Evil and Dick Togo should be doing. Just like slapstick stupidness. And earlier in the show, I didn't have you guys watch this. Hikuleo faced Yujiro Takahashi because Carl Anderson, the very money-making, money-drawing, very, very important to New Japan. Carl Anderson is in WWE in Saudi Arabia at the time and can't defend his title. Yujiro and Sho attack Hikuleo from behind before the bell rings. Hikuleo gets the upper hand, tells the guy to ring the bell. The guy rings the bell, and Yujiro gets choke slammed like the good old 9/11 days. Was that his name? 911, not 9/11. Don't say 9/11. The fucking FBI will be at my front door. 911 days of ECW and choke slams.
Pulled off YouTube.
Beats him in fucking 30 seconds. This was great. Yeah, this is the perfect spot for their crew to be bumbling villains in a old heist movie, tying Ren Narita to the tracks while the train's coming. That's what we need. I love it. Final thoughts, Brandon?
No, I'm good. You nailed it. It's good to. I'm a fan of the comedy wrestling match and not having it not just be Toru Yano coming out and being like, "This is our comedy segment."
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace, I think. Especially since, and we talked about it last week, especially you, Brandon, you mentioned that the shit could be serious business a lot of times. New Japan, everything's serious business. We get two really solid comedy matches. We'll talk about the next one. Tag team match. The impossible tag team match. El Desperado and Master Wato tag up and defeat Hiromu Takahashi and Taiji Ishimori in another match that I fucking loved. These guys could not get along at all, and I loved every minute of it. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, I thought they played that role very well. The two guys that are, it's like a trope of all tropes in wrestling is the tag team that who knows if they're going to work out together, but they did it very well here. The only other thing that I'll say is you got three guys that have had that one belt for many a time, and I think this was kind of to get Master Wato into the mix, and I'm not sure that that he's ready for that. The guy just looks too stupid for me to ever be like, I could see him being champion.
I did like that El Desperado was like bullying him the whole time, especially when he was doing the like tag me and pulling his hand away. Tag me, pulling his hand away, and Master Wato just open and slaps Desperado in the face. I don't think he looked terrible in this, Master Wato. I think he looked like he could go with these guys. He's definitely not at the same level, but he's getting there. He still looks like a fucking weirdo, though. Chris,
he's just too goofy looking.
Yeah, he's funny looking.
I think you guys nailed it. We can move on.
All right. FTR versus IWGP Tag Team Championship. FTR defeated United Empire team of Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb, who sold his knee the whole match. So FTR has had this title now for since Forbidden Door. Did they? No. When did FTR win the title? Do we remember? Was it All Out?
I thought it was Forbidden Door.
Yeah, I thought that was it.
Forbidden Door. So we're talking about 6 months. That's when they won the title. I think this is like the third time they defended it, and they win. The crowd seemed kind of flat for this. Well, they were popping up for Great O'Khan, but it seemed kind of flat. Brandon, thoughts?
This could be one of those things that, like, in 10 years, if you're subscribing to New Japan World and you're like, oh, this is cool. Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan against these two. I never knew that this match happened, but in the moment, it landed flat with me as well. I was like, whatever. These guys.
Yeah, this didn't really do it for me. I don't know why. You know, we get this talk like FTR's some of the greatest wrestlers in the world, which I do enjoy them in their own little environment. When they went over there, I don't think they're as big a deal. I don't think their name carries as much weight in Japan, and the whole match itself, like are they supposed to be the baby faces in this?
I know why. Because like some of the shit is just generic as hell, and when it's the American crowd and they're like, but this is skilled pro wrestling, it plays well. But everybody over there does that. It's not new to them to have a tag team that's like talented and executes on what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, I felt the same way. I mean, the only good thing coming out of this is that you didn't get a situation where FTR picks up the IWGP titles and then wrestles for them twice and then drops them. So maybe we'll get more out of them. Maybe we'll get something better next time. But this was kind of meh.
Yes.
And like you said, it's you know, I think a lot of it has to do with when you watch them here, it's the constant selling on why it's good that they're doing what they're doing. Right? Oh, they're old school. They're like Orton and Tully. You send that to Japan, it doesn't carry as much weight, like Brandon said.
Yeah. I was excited for this. It was fun, but it wasn't, I don't know. It was okay. It's just, you know what, it was kind of it was a spot you needed a kind of a come down, I think, before this next match, which I fucking loved. I think the come down was fucking the Okada match, which stunk, which we're not going to talk about, but. All right, main event time. IWGP US Heavyweight Championship. Will Ospreay defeats Tetsuya Naito in 30 minutes. Brandon, thoughts?
I mean, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. 30 minutes is just too much Will Ospreay for me, so I faded during this. Interesting thing to me coming out of it is like Naito looks so good again. I don't know what they're worried about with him, but he's like, I don't know, kind of sliding past his prime here and just like falling into that third, fourth place spot again, where it feels like they have one of the, I don't know what the list is. I off the top of my head, under 10 guys for sure that you could be like, this is the most interesting pro wrestler in the world at any moment. And they're not using him like that.
Chris, thoughts?
Well, I mean, you know, not everybody can be on top all the time. So some dudes have to take a couple steps back every once in a while to get storylines going for other people. Bird Boy's starting to grow on me.
I'm with you. I'm over.
You know,
I'm over putting him down. I still think that he makes stupid faces and grunts too much.
Oh, maybe he'll stop doing that at some point. He's getting older.
Everything about him is he's a dickhead, which is what his character is, but he's really good in the ring, and he doesn't have bad matches no matter where the fuck he is. We watched him in AEW having good matches. We watched him here and having good matches. Like, he always has good matches against everyone.
Can I ask you this?
Yo.
So I'm getting a feeling, maybe you'd be able to point this out, maybe if I'm right or I'm wrong, but first of all, he's much bigger.
Yes,
physically,
he's bulked up.
Much larger.
We're seeing that with Zack Sabre Jr. too. He's bulking up too.
He is much more hard hitting than he was before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's what's kind of getting it over to me. It's the reason why I never was in the Ricochet.
Right.
You know, he just nothing. He never sold anything, and he just ran in place before he ran away, like Fred Flintstone. And what's his name did the same stuff. Will Ospreay did the same stuff. He doesn't seem to be doing any of that anymore. So yeah, I don't. He's much more entertaining than he was before. So I'm kind of getting behind him.
I think the idea behind their whole, when they were smaller, is that they were kind of doing superheroes in the rings kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Which, I mean, that works more in a lucha libre setting, which is why Prince Puma was so fucking intriguing back those days. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to when it's supposed to be a battle, when it's less, masks and flair, when it's like what we're talking about in the New Japan world, where it's supposed to be like a competition, you kind of have to cast that aside, or else you're forever a junior. And since he bulked up and he went heavy, I think he's changed a lot, and I am no longer hating him as much as I did. He's kept his mouth shut. I don't follow him on social media, so I don't see any of that shit. And like Brandon said, fucking Tetsuya Naito, man, the guy is fucking amazing. This match was fucking fantastic. I love this match. Any final thoughts on this?
I mean,
go
ahead, Brandon. No, because I'll say mine afterwards.
Brandon, thoughts?
No, you guys go ahead.
Yeah, Chris.
No, just to Brandon's point before. I mean, we're gonna name probably one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and he was fucking tremendous at being he's a tremendous wrestler, but he's tremendous at telling stories in a ring. Tanahashi was the best, and then he floats back, and then every time you think like he's getting near the end of his run and they're not going to be able to, they should use him now because they're not going to have another run with him, he comes back and does another 5 years and kills it. So I mean, it's just a matter of, like I said, not everybody can be on top all the time, so these guys have to take roles. Sometimes they have to lose to get other guys ahead of them. I mean, I would assume that you're going to see I think you would see Switchblade fall to the undercard before you see Okada fall to the undercard. And I think that you might be seeing maybe an Ospreay. Let's put him up top as a heel against Okada. Because it's safe to say, for lack of a better word, I mean, he's their, I don't want to say Inoki, but he's kind of like their Hulk Hogan. He's the conqueror of evil all the time, even when he was a bad guy. So it's almost like you're going to have Okada at top and just keep kind of putting heels up there and then bringing them back down, let them feud with somebody else, put another heel up there. So you have your guys. You can always have Naito can always work heel. He can show up. The only one that doesn't work heel, and really, I mean, at this point in his career, shouldn't be there anyway, is Tanahashi. He's the only one that's like babyface all the time. But, it's, I think they might just be rotating, and they might be in a point in which you're going to start rotating a new foreign heel, right?
Right.
For Okada to conquer eventually. Yeah, eventually Jonah may come in too. But in order to do that, you got to get the guys that you have to go down the card. Mm-hmm. Not everybody can be in the main event.
Okada did it for a couple of years when he was Balloon Okada. Okay, so after the match, Brandon, final thoughts on this?
No, you're good. What do we got?
You're good. After the match, we get the returning Shota Umino comes out. He's got a full jumbotron. He's got really dry blonde hair. He's wearing all white. He's carrying the Jon Moxley jacket with him. Comes to the ring. He challenges Will Ospreay. Takes him out. Takes out all of the United Empire. He runs outside the ring. He does a fucking Jon Moxley walk through the crowd. We see where he he does the whole swagger, the arms. Gets in the crowd. He's standing on some chairs. That's who we're getting. We're getting him at New Japan Stardom crossover. We're getting Will Ospreay versus Shota Umino, the returning young lion, now full time. So we got Shota Umino back. We've got Ren Narita back. Got some young guys, man. All of a sudden, I'm fucking really excited. I talked about it last week. We were talking about reasons to get excited about New Japan. I think young guys coming in is one reason. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, they have to realize that. Like Chris said, it's the same fucking roster every time that you go. It would be crazy if they weren't aware of that. If you're going to jack somebody's stuff that they're currently doing, the John Moxley style walk through the crowd, rock star, there's room for two of those, in my opinion, in the world of pro wrestling. It's pretty interesting.
Chris, thoughts?
I mean, it just gives you somebody to look forward to again. So he can go up there with who we talking about earlier, Ren Narita.
Hmm.
Some young guys that you can look forward to getting better because they had two when it was Show and Yo, and they flatlined quickly.
Yeah.
So
And Master Wato too didn't turn out the way they wanted.
No trash bag.
They have
Can't
another
believe
guy part of their career. There's a couple of guys in wrestling in the U.S. that might come over too. I think Clark Connors is one of them. But they have a guy named Yoda Tsuji. You guys might remember him. He's in Britain. I think he's going to wrestle in Mexico now, which was always his dream. I think he's the next one to come back. So you get three. I mean, seeing how they pan out, that's three wrestlers that all of a sudden are thrown in there. Three, made in Japan, made in New Japan wrestlers. Probably going to be around for the future, which is pretty exciting. Pay attention. It does beg the question, to ask this question. Will Ospreay's facing Shota Umino at New Japan Stardom crossover. Brandon, does Will Ospreay drop the title, move on to something more important? Not quote unquote more important, a bigger match at Wrestle Kingdom.
I don't know. I mean, I could see him losing in a strange way. Obviously, he's getting a lot of steam behind him. If you guys are picking up on it, I don't know that I'll ever get there with him, but it certainly seems like bigger and better is the direction. I don't know if that means a loss, right before Wrestle Kingdom.
Right. Chris, thoughts? What do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because then it gives you opportunities for a lot more to go on, right? So if you have an Ospreay lose the title, then now you have two new people wrestling for that title, and then you have something new to do with Ospreay. It kind of opens things up a little bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if he lost.
Still like possibly Kenny Omega versus Ospreay, which was teased a while ago before all the bullshit with AW.
I think if I had the counterpart clear in my mind, it would make a lot more sense. But if that's what it is, the other, I don't know if we're done with this now. The other thing I'm interested in, which I could have talked about earlier, was the potential Danielson Shibata, if that could come into play here.
Yeah, does that happen in U.S. soil or does that happen in Japan? That's a good question. Since we already teased around about the fact that we think that maybe New Japan doesn't want Shibata wrestling for them. Do chicken shit.
I have no idea. It just seems like, why would you do that if not? Yeah.
No, it's a good theory. Because he's not there.
Speculation. Yeah.
Here's another point too. Like if anybody thinks that any suspensions or anything that somebody like that Kenny Omega would be serving with AEW wouldn't be immediately lifted if they saw a major dollar sign on the horizon, they're out of their fucking mind. Like they do nothing in professional wrestling. Nothing is done on principle.
Unless there's a non-compete clause.
Well, what I'm saying is if they can all make money, they will. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, okay, you serve your suspension, because you notice they haven't told anyone what actually is going on.
Right, they're not going.
So now this is like, oh, he served the suspension. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right.
Wrestling. We're never going to find out.
We're never going to find out. Which, let me tell you something. Good. I don't want to fucking know.
I don't know either.
I just want to watch a dumb TV show and move on.
All right, final thoughts on that show before we're going to talk about Tag League real quick.
To that point, that you could also zoom out and be like, going back to that Forbidden Door pay-per-view, as of the week, we were pretty confident that New Japan wasn't going to send Okada or their top guys over for that. They did. I would assume they would want something in return.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, your values get thrown out the window as soon as money's involved.
Right. Tanahashi, also a guy that has nothing to do with Wrestle Kingdom. I would assume it was going to be CM Punk. So who knows what's going on there? Obviously, litigation is going on there. So I don't think CM Punk's ever coming back. So there goes your big money match there. You got guys like Jericho, who's worked with them before. John Moxley's worked with them before. And I was going to ask, so what do we do with Tetsuya Naito? Ladies and gentlemen, here's your World Tag League lineups. There we go. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Toru Yano. Bishamon, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi, former champs. All right, we got Alex Coughlin and Gabriel Kidd. They are young lions. I think they're ready for them to get called up. Tetsuya Naito and Sanada. The Great Okarni and Aaron Honore, because Jeff Cobb is quote-unquote injured. We got Aussie Open. The return of TMDK, Mikey Nichols and Shane Haste. Very good as a tag team. Not so great solo. You guys remember them from NXT?
Yeah, is that the same two guys?
TK71 or whatever the hell they were?
Yeah.
TM69?
The TM66619?
TM420.
Yeah, I do remember. Was that what their actual names were?
Yeah, the Mighty Don't Kneel.
The Mighty Don't Kneel, but what were their names? They didn't use those names.
What their names were.
WWE.
Mikey Nichols and Shane Haste here.
Yeah.
They were probably like Johnny Stacks and
Shane
with a Y.
Shane. It was
Hatred.
Shane something Miller, Nick Miller,
and Bobby Coors
and Shane something. But the one guy. I mean, let's call it what it is. The one that's not as attractive said, "Fuck this! I want to go back to Australia," and he left. Yeah. And then the other guy, Shane Thorne and Nick Miller, and the other guy was one of
the gang,
the fucking the Purge people, the T-Bar, Snowball,
what Vince McMahon
Dick
thought
Mouth.
The Black Lives Matter protests were all about. Smashing things and running away. That's who they were.
T-Bar and Snowball.
Yep, Snowball.
I don't fucking know. Who cares?
Minoru Suzuki and Lance Archer. Lance Archer's back in. Minoru Suzuki's back. Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens, former champs.
No, they're always good.
And more importantly, Evil and Yujiro Takahashi. Notice the IWGP Tag Team Champions, the guys that complain that they are never on television and don't work enough, FTR, are nowhere to be seen in World Tag League. Brandon, thoughts? Are you excited about World Tag League?
Look at that. Right on time I came back. Jimmy doesn't have his screen up, but I had a chocolate lab that was a little bit bitey trying to come in here. I had it run for a second. World Tag League is like might as well be New Japan strong to me. I just don't think I ever plan on watching it, to be honest with you. So to my point with Naito, interesting place to use one of the guys that could be at the top of their card. I don't know that the New Japan roster is such a bath of riches that they can just do that with a guy like that, but they're going to.
Chris, thoughts? You excited?
Just as
sands of the hour.
Leo Rush will never fucking be anywhere close to Rey Mysterio. I will never be anywhere close to being interested in World Tag League.
Wrestle Kingdom's coming though, baby. I'm ready.
Yeah, I mean, this is their holdover, right? Let's give you a bunch of matches with dudes in them. And but this has always been a dog. Since I've been watching New Japan, World Tag League's sucked.
Yeah, it stinks.
It wasn't the Kingdom.
Yeah, the Kingdom was in it.
Isn't it? Now I believe the Kingdom is in AEW.
They are in AEW.
Yeah.
Very exciting times. Exciting times to watch AEW. That's why we
Matt
talk about
Taven and Michael Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
Bennett.
All right. That's all I got for pro wrestling. I do have a question for you guys, though. Are you ready to start thinking about best of the year? Because it's almost there. We got to start rattling our brains. I started compiling some matches. So we're gonna have to start going through some stuff, man. Getting there. I think our plan for we change it every year. We're voting for what we're doing. We'll stick with some of these categories for this year. So last year we had best storyline.
My match of the year is fucking already fucking locked.
Best newcomer, hardest to watch, best male or female, best old person flop. I think we might be getting rid of that this year. Saki Tanaki. That's the Saki Tanaki award. Best match, best show. Might get rid of best Twitter too. There you go. We
haven't been on Twitter that much.
I go on Twitter all the time, but
I just read. I don't post anything.
It hasn't been as much of a show as I mean.
No, we don't. We barely ever talk about it anymore.
Can I give you a hint?
Biggest bite of the year.
Biggest bite of the year.
Can I give you a hint of what I think the best match of the year is?
No, save it.
Okay.
Yeah, don't say anything.
Are you about to put on a song by the Minutemen?
No, it's gonna be.
Oh, okay. I thought for sure he's going somewhere else. That's right. I think we each submit one, and then if the category warrants.
Rick's longtime partner.
Oh my God. Oh my fucking God.
I wasn't gonna play it, but you said it, so it had to come out. Yeah. Go on. We're gonna wrestle again.
You guys bought that, right?
What's that?
Fucking right.
You
It
guys
was worth
bought
every
that.
fucking
That's so
penny.
funny.
Remember, it was
I
$20,
forgot
but it
about
ended up
that.
being $40 or something.
Bro, it was worth every fucking penny.
I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I haven't. It was the
Dude,
world's worst wrestling
show you
card
what I
that was
bought.
worth every dime.
All right. Look at that. Look at those flowers on her fucking arms.
That looks-
Her back has scars on it.
Does it move or no?
No.
So it's a statue.
Stationary. Yeah.
It's not an action figure.
No actions.
No
Don't
action.
touch. I feel bad touching it right now. She's got like perfect, like all her scars are the right ones. I'm gonna go on. I got a picture of her with her back showing. I'm gonna go and measure. Make sure they're all right. Or I'm gonna send it back and want to demand a refund.
That's hella tight.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I joke around, but I would never criticize what somebody else spends their cash on. Go for it. Have fun, dude.
Yeah, have fun with your money. We only have it for as long as we're alive. Then the government takes it all. There you go. All right. Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Not if Doug
Start thinking
Mastriano
about
wins.
best of the year. Yeah, Doug Mastriano. Marriage is the oldest sacrament ever and cannot be. It's for 7,000 years.
We're back. We're back on this. So I'm going to share something I received.
Doug Mastriano.
No, by somebody. So there's definitely, where I'm employed,
Mm-hmm.
there is a line of old guys, young guys. And me being the Gen Xer, I hug that line, right? I'm in between those things. I tend to lean more towards the youth for no other reason than it just pisses the old people off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've been making fun of political ads. Not like the old folks are going, I can't believe and they're right. Get them off the fucking TV. Nobody wants to see them, especially during a fucking football or baseball game. Get them off. Let us forget for 5 minutes.
I can't watch anything on YouTube without getting 6 of them.
Right. So I do agree with that. But they complain, and I do. John Fetterman can't tie his tie. John Fetterman never paid property taxes. I thought he lived in his parents' house for 47 years. He lived in his parents' house. No taxes, house, parents, no parents. He wears a sweatshirt. That kind of shit.
Yep.
Well, you get them via text message sometimes.
Oh, yeah, I get them.
I haven't gotten them this year, thank God. But I know people that have got them at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Yeah, same here.
So a friend of mine sent me one, and it was, I'm assuming, I know that this is a parody of one, but it said, "This is Democrats for Change. Vote now. Mehmet Oz is a mutt. Mumra leprosy bitch. He talks funny and rubs snake oil on." This is what's going on here. This is exactly what they're watching. We laugh. The one we always laugh at is Joe Biden crime is out of control. It's like fucking guns in people's faces. I love it. You got to learn to enjoy it.
Fetterman thinks you're stupid, James. This is a personalized one.
Oh, wow.
He wants to raise your taxes even though he failed to pay his own at least 67 times. What does that mean? He's only like 40-something years old. Learn more about his radical ideas and reckless plans for Pennsylvania here at 22win.com. America is on the line, James. Should I answer?
Is any of this going to leave me in a situation unless that I'm less fucked than I am right now? I really don't think it is.
James, face the facts. John
Moxley. Just say it. Go John Moxley.
John Moxley would be the most out-of-touch radical politician in the Senate. He wants to raise your taxes, James. There you go.
It is so funny to go. I didn't know that they did Senate debates, but it is so funny to even go on a Senate debate and go. The first thing he says, "Hello, everybody. Good night."
Good night.
And then go on afterwards and be like, "That wasn't a big fucking deal." He's like, right. Now he has a new wave of ads. It's like that didn't even matter that I did that. It's like, are you sure? So what? I had a stroke. It's like this is the new.
I had the guy. Listen, the guy has a stroke, and then he does, like, within a short period after the stroke, does shit that people who have had a stroke recently do on the regular, and you're gonna pretend that this guy didn't have a stroke.
It's like matter.
It's like right. Whoever's parading him out there deserves to get pushed off a cliff.
Just give him a little time.
It's like you're parading this guy out there. He's probably
where am I?
I
called his wife his dog's name, his dog his wife's name.
I had somebody say to me, they're like, "Well, it's not that he can't understand what's being said to him. It's just that he can't articulate it." And I'm like,
"Yeah, that's called not being."
That sounds like half the job. Yeah,
that's not understanding.
Yeah, it's like
it's as important as the first part.
What do you think about John? What do you think, John Fetterman? He writes down a piece of paper and just says, "Fart poopies."
If you guys are bartending and someone's like, it's not that if somebody can't say something to you at the bar, the fact that they could understand you asking them if they want another drink, but they just can't say it, that they're still fucking drunk and they don't need another. I just say,
something else, sir. He just can't understand me. He's saying yes.
He's saying yes. He's not drunk. He's just.
Speaking of which, we like to talk about poop here.
We
My first floor shitter at Lorraine Bar.
Oh, nice! It took a long time.
Yeah, it took a while. I had a wall shitter, which I theorized. This was before I theorized someone was sitting on the toilet seat, slipped while the shit was coming out, and it squirted between that small space between the seat and the bowl onto the wall, like in a line. This person, bartender, told me, like, this weird guy just came out of nowhere and was like, "Hey, all right, everybody, how you doing? How's the feelings? All right, see you later," and left. And they were all like, "Did you see that guy come in?" He's like a whirlwind.
It happens.
They went and checked the bathroom, and there was dookie butt on the floor. Give me some more. They asked me what to do, as if I was supposed to go and take care of it.
Fucking clean it. That's what to do.
Rubber gloves on, clean it up, spray it with bleach, and make sure you scrub it later on. Okay.
What do we do here? Fix it.
Was it solid?
Aaron, I'm your boss. Do it. Was it solid? Yeah, it was a solid turds.
I've cleaned many a solid turd in my life.
He probably had to hold on to the toilet for support while he was pushing it out, like.
You know that smells so bad too. Poop out of water.
Without water? Insane. That's awful. I've told you about me shit.
Little fucker.
Oh my God. One of the worst experiences of my life, my own shit. Shit in a box. Box covered in socks.
Let me ask you this, Jim.
Yes.
When you did it, Cologuard, I'm assuming.
Yes.
I'm going back to my memory banks of Jim having to do anything remotely similar to this. So I got to get away from my mic here. Hold on. I'll push it all the way back here. So I'm going to assume that there was a lot of Oh God! Oh God! Oh, oh, it smells out.
I did not. I was very professional about it until I had to. You have to manually use this probe, get a sample, and stick it into a liquid and twist it. When I had to go into it and separate the outer shell, and then immediately as you pull it apart, it's like hairy. It's like an old fucking avocado.
Oh man.
It's like you're pulling it apart, and I was just like, ow! And then I had to put it into a little jar, and I was like, I'm all done. Wrapped it up. I was like, having fun with this. Of course, the shipping went somewhere else, and it's probably landed on someone's front step. They never got it. So, congratulations.
Sent it to the Wawa on Air Mingo by accident.
I sent it to the Rain Bar toilet right next to it. This ain't mine.
Chris, have you ever almost shit yourself doing jujitsu? I would imagine that's the type of exercise that would work one right out of me.
I wouldn't say. I mean, it depends on what almost is. No.
I'm surprised it isn't more of a problem. Just like guys at the end of their day or early in the morning, especially, you have a coffee and then you're just like working your ass off, really focused on trying to get your elbow out and just like.
Nah.
I can't get anything done before 10 a.m. because I have to wait for the process. Not having.
So I would assume that it's like there's a level of I ain't gonna be the one that shits his pants. So you're hyper aware of that. If you feel that you may have to crap your pants, go to the fuck. And I'm sure everybody in that room is like, I may have to poop. I'm going to the bathroom to make sure. You know,
I'm gonna go take a
so,
dump.
It's like everyone's hyper aware of that.
Yeah, you're hyper. You're going to be the guy that shits his pants on the mat? You'll never live that down.
Fuck yeah. I'd be poopy butt. Jimmy Poopy Butts.
Laughing. We don't. I mean, dude, I know. I would die. I would die if somebody.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't have been able to stop laughing.
Whenever he gets up and he runs away, he would just stand over the poop smear, laughing my ass off in tears.
The all white gi.
In tears. Fucking hands on my knees. Yeah.
It's a thick material, so it ain't going nowhere. It's
right.
Oh God.
You would just think one of those evening beginners classes. Some guy would show up and just be like, "Oh, I had 17 espressos today at my job."
It could be. I'm sure in that, but man, I would never. No. If I'm anywhere near it, I'm like, nah, dude, no. And here's the other thing.
When I was doing it, when I was doing jiu-jitsu, I went to a place where it was after people got done work. They went. Stinky boys in there, man. Just buy a fucking butt wipe. Give yourself a freshening up, you know?
Yeah, that guy runs.
I smell like fucking magic.
That guy runs a dirty fucking gym.
So I don't go down here anymore. There you go. All right. Anything else to talk about?
No, I think we're good.
All right, good. All right. Next week we're gonna do something positive. You know what we're gonna do? I don't know yet. Think of something positive to talk about.
I think we're pretty positive tonight.
We're positive this episode. We got to look forward to things for next year.
I mean,
also,
we bottomed out pretty hard last week.
Last week was the rant episode.
Well, I mean, they're giving us nothing. And we made decisions. I haven't watched AEW. I watched that one match. That was it.
I'll give it another shot. I'm going tonight. Tony Storm and Hikaru Shida are facing Saruga and Emi Sakura. I'll watch it. I'll mostly watch the YouTube shit when I see somebody I like. I'm like, yeah, I'll go check it out. It's less than 10 minutes, the match. You can skip through it. It's on YouTube, so you can just. It's not putting on double time on fucking Comcast and waiting for it to get through. It's in a commercial, having to back up. Man, I fucking hate Comcast so much.
It's the pits. It's all the pits.
I haven't given up on AEW. I think it'll come back, but I don't know.
I haven't given up on anything. I just have a lot of demands on my time right now, and that's very low on the fucking list of priorities. If you stick it on there,
we don't want this to be a job for us. We want to have fun doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't want to feel like, oh fuck. Like if I'm sending you something, if I'm sending you a link, it's either funny or it's really good. You know what I mean? Like I'm not sending you a link and being like, hey, we have to push through and watch fucking 3 hours of Raw.
No,
It's
fuck
just,
that.
It's just for that fucking Asuka and Io Sky promo. But you got to watch the whole show. You got to have an opinion on everything. Like, give me a fucking break. Right? It's supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun for the listeners too, not listen to us go, that stinks. That guy stinks. Everybody fucking stinks. And then when it does stink, we're going to tell you it stinks. If you don't agree, I don't tell you.
Yeah, if the people that put out wrestling content for every show every week and like it are lying. They're lying. So we're not going to do that.
Or they're mentally ill. One of the two.
I don't know how people, like, you know, I follow a lot of people that watch Joshi. I don't know how people watch Raw every week. They watch hours of Joshi on fucking, like, illegal streams. Then they watch Raw. They have opinions on that. They got opinions on SmackDown. It's like, where the fuck are y'all finding time? Do you leave the house? Go touch grass, brother. Go do something. Stop ordering fucking fast food. Make yourself a meal.
Yeah, then they go to the doctor and it's like, boy, you have developed some serious chronic illnesses.
Son, how much soda are you drinking? Your asshole is bloated.
I only have 6 kilos a day.
Ooh, I've cut down to diet.
They're getting over the toilet. Their butthole looks like a wind chime. All those hemorrhoids hanging down out of there.
Ding, 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 ding.
Fucking hemorrhoid.
You can't tell the difference between their nuts and their hemorrhoids.
Oh, can we? I think that's it. I think that's the last. I think we're done for the day.
Thanks for joining us this week, and join us here every week on Wrestling is Hard. Sorry, I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at hard4wrestling. Subscribe, follow. Tell your friends. Tell more of your friends if you enjoy us. If you think we're funny, tell more of your friends. We need more listeners, more subscriptions. I need ad money to pay for this year's fucking hosting fees because I can't afford it anymore. For Brandon and Chris, I'm Jim. We'll be back here next week.